We're recording now, so.
Okay. Hi, my name is Paul Philip Newman. It's January the 26th, 2011. I'm a guest here at Sheriff Brooks. I've been a guest here since September. Been here since September. How I became a guest, it started out with me being, I was homeless for a couple of months. Prior to that, I've had a failed marriage. I lost two jobs, two very good paying jobs, and fell into depression, and found myself living with family members here and there. Didn't work out, so found myself on the streets for a couple of months. Probably the worst experience, but...
Had you had experience on the streets before, or was this the first?
This is the very first time. I've been working ever since I got out of school, so this was like a new world for me.
Well, it is. We went on that street walk yesterday, and it's not like anything I've ever known, and to know it on a day-to-day basis.
Exactly, and that's what I tried to explain to people when I told my story here. And I told them that being homeless, it has no time frame. You know, like I said, I've been homeless for like 2 months. You have people who've been out there for like years, and they deal with it on a regular basis. I only experienced it for 2 months, and it felt like 6 months, because the harsh reality out there is that you have to fend for yourself. And basically, I was by myself. A lot of people, they have people they can talk to, communicate with, you know, and drink and do drugs with. By the grace of God, I didn't fall into that because it was out there. But
is that kind of almost dangerous? Does that make you vulnerable in other ways, that you didn't have a group?
I don't think it made me vulnerable, because the willpower that I had, I knew what was right, I knew what was wrong. I knew if I did this, you know, it wouldn't help me.
Yeah.
It would only put me further back.
Do you think some of those people, some of the folks join these groups out of for safety then?
Yeah. A lot of women. That's how you have a lot of women in the relationships with the guys, and a lot of times they look for the guy for safety. Then a lot of times the guys kind of put their hands on the female, and we see a lot of them come in here where they're battered, and we know why. A lot of them don't tell us. Some of them do tell us, you know, but it's safety in numbers. You know, me myself, I felt like
you had more resources going in, personal, emotional.
Yeah, I knew I needed help, and I knew I could survive on my own, but it was scary. It was scary sleeping and not knowing if somebody would come in and just mess with you. I did a lot of my sleeping when I first got out here. I did a lot of my sleeping in the daytime, because usually people don't want to do too much in the daytime. They want to, you know, if they're going to do something, they're going to do it in the dark. So I did a lot of my sleeping in the daytime, and then I stayed awoke at night, you know, because I was worried about my surroundings.
Where did you sleep?
I slept in St. John Park, right up the street. I slept, then I moved, I slept in front of a church a couple of times, and they had a little foyer or whatever, a little place where it had no windows, but it was like, so it was kind of covered. I stayed in the back of a bus, and that's when
a bus that was...
It was like a shuttle bus, like an abandoned shuttle bus alongside. It was right next to a church, and I stayed next to it, and I felt a little bit safer there, because didn't nobody know that I was there, and didn't too many people see me coming and going. I would leave early in the morning so nobody would see me, and I would go like probably back about 8 or 9, you know. But doing all that, I met this lady. Her name was Samantha, and she was homeless. And how I got introduced to her, or how I met her, was I seen her laying on. I was in the park one day where I was hanging out at, and I seen her laying down on the ground, and I was like, I wonder if she's breathing or not. And she was just laying in the grass. It was like those hot days. It was real hot, and she was just laying there, and I was looking at her. And the one thing that when I took classes, that how you can tell if somebody's breathing, you just stop and look at them and see if their chest is rising. And I just stopped and looked and seen her chest was rising, so I said, she's okay, she's breathing. Because a lot of people were like, is she alright? Is she dead or this? And I'd be like, no, she's alright. So eventually she was down for like 3 hours. And she finally woke up, because I stayed around because I really didn't want nobody to mess with her. So she finally came around, and I was asking her, so you alright? She was like, yeah, I'm okay. I'm just, because she had been drinking. She had her bottle with her, and she said she hadn't taken her medicine because she had high blood pressure. And I was like, I said, yeah, I was just watching out for you, make sure that nobody mess with you. And she was like very thankful for me just watching over her. And we started talking, and she told me how her boyfriend, he beat on her, and now she's not with him. And she just started talking to me, and just kind of like she started trusting me, and just started talking to me and telling me all her personal stuff. And I was like, wow, she must really trust me to not know me. You know, I was kind of like, wow. So she started talking to me, and she told me.
This is kind of your first introduction.
This is my first introduction to homelessness. You know, this is how I became. This is how I got here, where I'm at right now, because she introduced me to this place. You know, because I wasn't eating. You know, I haven't eaten. You know, I really wasn't worried about eating. I was worried about my safety more like. But she told me, well, it's a place down there on such and such. They'll give you something to eat and give you clothes and stuff. I was like, okay. I had missed it, the timing. It was like a Friday, and I missed it, and they were closed. So I came back that Monday, and I waited outside, and Mr. Eric asked me, well, he didn't ask, he said, does anybody want to volunteer? And I said, like, I'll do it. I'll volunteer. And I just volunteered, and they brought me in, and they fellowship with me, did the readings that we had. And you know, I started doing the showers. That's why I started off doing the showers, and I've been doing that ever since.
And that's your thing, because you voted.
Yeah, that's what I've been doing since I've been here. I've done other things. I did I come out here and fellowship with people. I've done the serving of the food. I did a closet. But my thing was the showers. I got a nice spot back there where I can just really connect with the people back there. You know, but I asked him if I could continue volunteering. He was like, yeah, you know, just let us know. And then I've been volunteering ever since I got here. You know, it's the way they brought me in, it was kind of like, wow, these people this is not normal. The way they're treating people, and the way that you used to seeing people treat other people. You know, it's because salvation. I went to the Salvation Army too.
Yeah,
and it's totally different than a place like this. I mean, the Salvation Army is like they holler and yell at you. This place is where, you know, no matter what color, handicap, you know, they bring you in, they treat you like a person. And that's one of the things that when the very first time I got introduced, I was like, man, that's what got me to liking this place, because these people are just genuine. You don't see this every day. People helping people.
Can you give me a particular example? I mean, or it could be really ordinary, no? Just kind of ordinary conversation, or the ethos of the place.
It was like everybody had a smile on their face. You know, it was the smile, the openness, like the joy. It's like something that you're not used to seeing on a regular basis. For me, you know, people just this open and this caring. And I'm like, man, this is kind of like I haven't experienced something like this, because this was new to me. You know, I never knew this place existed.
And you had some church background. before
Yes,
you
sir.
came.
I've been a Baptist.
Okay. Did you ever find the church was this warm or transparent? Or?
Yes, sir. I used to go to church when I was on the streets.
Mm-hmm.
I found me a church because that's what I was in the process of doing anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've always carried my Bible, I always carried a book bag around with me with my Bible in it. And I said, I need to find me a church. So I found a church up here on Benton. It was called Grace United.
Mm-hmm.
And I started going to that church up there. You know, whatever I had on, he said, come as you are. I was dirty, you know. I was like, I can't worry about that, you know, how my appearance, you know. And I had no money, but the money, you know how I would pay just to pay my tithes, you know, just the offerings or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I would find money just walking, like a quarter here, a nickel, a dime, or whatever, and I would pick it up and put it in my pocket.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually, I'll have some change, and I would just give it. When I go to the church, I'll be like, I want to give something. That's what I would give.
Mm-hmm.
I would just give it, you know. And I felt pretty good about it. Sometimes I didn't have nothing to give. I felt pretty bad, but you know, I mean, but I found that church, and they fed me. They were real nice people.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
I'm going to stop. We're going to start again, but it's just to keep the file shorter.